Hello and welcome to an amazing podcast. This is Secret Agent D.
This is Modi.
Hold on, let me get. This is Chat GBT Matt. I don't know.
And we are reviewing.
This is Modern Tech Reference Matt. Yeah.
Modern Tech Matt. There we go.
Modern Tech Matt. Yeah.
And we are reviewing episodes X through Y of Lazarus. What you guys think?
3 through 8.
Yep. Who's up first?
Oh, I guess I'll go first. So, the show is decent, but it's kind of slower than I want it to be. But like the actions, like the parts that work really well, but on the whole, I feel like it's a little bit too slow. Just to start off, that's my overall opinion.
Okay, so for me, I am very mixed on this show. And for starters, I'll say this world fudging sucks. Oh my god, it makes me hate the future. Okay. And start this off. Okay, I finally got over the suspension of disbelief of everyone getting high off pain pills and that being a species extinction event. The one thing that I couldn't get over was the fact of how calm this freaking world is. Are you telling me everyone on the planet has 30 days to live and they're all just sitting at home chilling out? For God's sakes, there would have been at least 50 public large-scale orgies a day if this was happening in the real world. You could take a black light to any street in the U.S. and it would light up like a neon, sign.
It should be world-ending too, right? Like everyone should be
losing
free
their
for
shit
all at this point.
Yeah.
You know, losing their shit, doing crime, doing whatever they want. So it is interesting that they don't really explore those mechanics of the world, or the fact that what is this mass panic causing. I mean, we get occasional stuff with the news or whatever, but it does feel like business as usual,
right?
Type of stuff. So that would have been an interesting element to see, is how is the government currently, or whatever organization, managing calming down the population. What is the population's reactions to everything?
Listen, I'm just saying, if this happened in real life, I would just stop wearing clothes, okay? It would be full butt me, nonstop, and nothing would stop me, okay?
You think the government would lie and be like, oh, don't worry, we're developing a cure, and our scientists say we'll get it by, next week or whatever, just to, keep people calm,
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing...
Yeah, that's...
Yeah,
sorry. Another thing I hate about this world, I hate the technology. The scene where they're they're chasing the helicopter. Are you telling me that I can still grab a gun and shoot up a nightclub, but I can't take my helicopter and ram it through a bunch of buildings? What the heck? Where is my freedom in this world? I'll have you know.
Wait, are you talking about the AI who was all sassy?
Yes.
No.
That is ridiculous.
I thought that was funny.
Are you telling me I can spend $1 million on a helicopter and I can't use the rotor blades to just carve through a bunch of people? That's BS. Because you want to know something about freedom? I can take my pickup truck and drive it through any McDonald's I want, and there's not a single goddamn thing that can stop me. There's a lot of things that will stop me from doing it again, mind you. But if I wanted to go out and do that, I can. And that's what freedom is. And I hate this, dystopian, autocrat universe they're living in right now. That's BS. And you know what? That's a safety hazard, too. If they could just ram their helicopter through, buildings and everything, they probably wouldn't have gotten caught.
Yeah, I think there's some parts of it that are... I actually think most of it is pretty realistic. But except for what you said. It's funny that I never even thought about the fact that... yeah, the world should be in chaos, considering that everyone's supposed to die in 30 days. But that's one thing I actually appreciate about the show is that I feel like it's actually very realistic to like what the world might actually look like by 2050 or whatever. But yeah, it is crazy. I think maybe if there's an explanation for it, just based on my context knowledge of the director and how he usually writes his stories, like he usually has like, you know, an ensemble cast, and like the episodes are typically like pretty self-contained and like episodic, and they're like exploring different themes in each episode. And then towards the end it kind of like coalesces towards like the main theme, like the main plot points of the story. And I think we're actually starting to get to that now, and like after episode 8. So like that's it, like his usual MO. But then in this show it's like how do I put it?
Slower.
He chose the wrong premise to do his
this
style
kind of
of
stuff.
writing. His style of story writing. Yeah, because this premise is so big that like it's really unless you're dumb like me, it's really obvious like for watchers to see like the obvious ramifications of like, you know, a drug that will like kill people in 30 days, and the world should be in chaos, but it's not. So it's like, if you're gonna have that premise, you can't just ignore something like that, because that's really big. So yeah,
I
Well,
think
even then, like I feel like, because you said the show is slow. I think it's more so that I feel like the payoffs for each episode don't really carry into the next one like too much. Especially with what you said about how self-contained every episode is, because we'll get introduced to a set of like new characters, a new like plot, right? And then those things are introduced and resolved within that same episode.
Heck,
And it's like a little bit disappointing because there's no room to kind of like explore more about like that aspect of society, or like, you know, that organization. Like, so I wonder if like honestly longer episodes would have been nice, or having more of like a follow through, especially since it's like we're following like every episode should get them closer and closer to finding out where what's his name, Skinner is, or like reveal something about, especially since like the whole idea is Skinner's trying to get these characters to like go through the same experiences he did. I feel like that needs to be kind of set up a little bit better than what they have right now. Like, I genuinely thought the like AI cult thing was like kind of interesting, and I kind of wanted to hear more about like the like what the AI has to say, but we don't even get like any of that. To where I was like, oh, is it? I was surprised that it even like spoke at the end, like right before it died. I don't know. Just like I feel like there's some plot threads it's not pulling at, which I feel like would be a lot more interesting for it to pull at.
I will say though, I thought the AI cult episode was probably the dumbest episode for me personally.
Yeah.
Okay,
Same,
here's the thing.
I agree.
Here's the
Oh my God.
First thing. They're supposed to be off the grid.
Yeah.
How are they getting all that energy to like fund their giant like AI god tower? Secondly, why would you create like, okay, you're a cult leader. Why would you create an AI? You could literally just say like, I have received the visions from the Lord. It tells you to do this and this.
Well, they should have made it more like corporate and more like a Scientology type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like have it more like a little bit more grounded in that sense, right? And then you could still have a cult that worships AI, because I could easily see that happening, considering like how some, especially in tech, view AI right now, and especially our like dependence, like our rising dependence as a culture on AI. I could easily see okay, we have a cult that's all surrounding like the fucking words. This I if you go to any Twitter post, the number, all the responses are like, "Hey Grok, explain what this is." Do my critical thinking for me, like in every single post, and it's honestly like scary, like with how like people are willing to put so much stock into like an algorithm. So that would have been like a cool plot point to see, but you're right, like the way they handle it's like really silly.
I would have loved it way better if they treat it like as a standard like religious cult, only for the twist to be like he was just using ChatGPT the whole time for all of his sermons and everything.
Yeah.
But the other thing like that drives me crazy too is like, and this is the weird thing, like your God is a giant server that's not even connected to the internet. Your God can get taken down by like a single drone strike. Say what you want about Christianity, but you can't like blow up our God with like you can't.
The God should have had like a VTuber avatar. It should have been like an anime girl.
I would respect that. I would respect that way more.
God Chan. You know, that's the other thing. Like, they were all like, "Oh yes, we're going to heaven." Like, you know, that's AI, right? That's a freaking server. Like, if they were like, "Oh yeah, we're going to upload our consciousness to the PC or something," then maybe. But like, bruh, there's no after. Like, you know where this stuff comes from. You all know what an AI is at this point in history. What the heck?
Yeah, that really it didn't make. It's like it's funny because it was like they were like an I mean, okay, not saying that the Amish are a cult, but like their lifestyle was kind of like Amish like, but they were worshiping like the pinnacle of technology. It's like, what? Like, how does this?
Also,
I'm saying the cult should have been like soulless and corporate, like removing all identity of the self in like a very corporate way, because that's like the way that we've centered like AI in like society right now. So I feel like that would have been more fitting than like the traditional. They wanted to have their like traditional cult thing and make it all techie, but then I feel like that kind of like removes believability out of it, you know.
It would have been.
It also
so
would have
funny.
made sense too, because like since Elena's supposed to be like a super genius hacker, it would make sense that that kind of person would come out of that kind of environment.
Like she learned from like that's like the thing they might value the most is like knowing tech.
Yeah.
It would have been so funny instead of like a community in the woods. It's just a giant Amazon warehouse that like people are just living out of.
Yeah, and also I mean there were also a bunch of other like aside from like the concept itself, there are a lot of dumb things about that episode. Like the fact that Elena and Leland, they really didn't try very hard at all to escape the cremation. Like, they were just like, Leland was just like, I'll just give you a suggestion, Hannah. You know, maybe you should let off that flare. I don't know if you feel like it. If not, totally cool. You know, and then they just go off and start burning at the stake, just chilling. Hoping that something.
Okay, they did send the two like most physically useless characters. Like his whole thing is he has drones, and her whole thing is the hacking thing. And then like all the characters that could actually like fight were left behind, which I'm also wondering why they weren't paying closer attention to like what was happening. I kind of expect like they saw the flare, of course, right?
Yeah.
But I thought they would have more contingencies. I don't know.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. On that point, I'm not really sure. At least what I'm trying to say is, on that point, it makes sense to me that they couldn't really do much, because I imagine like if you get close to, I imagine that like you get stripped of all technology, right? No technology is allowed on the grounds.
You can probably see with satellite that they're like setting up a big pyre for.
Yeah, actually, then again, they were allowed to have their bracelets, so
Okay, this is another thing I have issue I have with that though. Okay, the first thing, the fancy like artsy like bars of their cells. There were plenty of gaps in there where they could have easily squeezed through, especially since they were like both tiny as heck. Second thing, they gave up on the whole burning at the stake thing really easy. Like as soon as they saw that flare up, they were all like, "Oh my god, time to burn ourselves!"
Oh my god, they're here! Run! We gotta kill ourselves.
I don't understand the logic. Like also, I don't get it. Like
also, they were talking about their plan, their secret plan in front of like all the people where they could be heard. Also, and she just happens to be in the other room there. It's like, come on, guys.
The girl who lit the whole flare ran in with them into like the burning room. What the heck?
Oh yeah, that too. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that episode was easily the worst episode, I think, out of all of them. It was just there was so much about it that just was really bad. And to top it off, it was pretty much pointless because they didn't. I guess they gained a bit of a lead. That's the thing with all the episodes. This kind of goes back to what you're saying, Matt. Is that the whole idea is they're supposed to be getting closer to finding Skinner. And I guess technically they do every episode. Like every episode they get like a small little lead, but it doesn't feel like, I don't know, it doesn't feel significant really.
Right.
It just kind of feels circumstantial, and it's like
well, yeah, it's like I found this hard drive that says this thing, and it's like, okay, well, it'd been nice if you actually like the plots of the episode were a bit more relevant to like, so that it all fits together, and like maybe it will, right? But then it all fits together in like a, you know, a clean picture of like what was happening, you know?
Yeah. Like, for example, when they found out that Hirsch actually used to work with Skinner, that's not something that, like, I don't understand how in the world they couldn't have figured that out earlier.
Yeah.
And, like, they needed to go to like all the sunken islands to figure that. You know what I mean? It's like
right.
It's just like a random plot point that's inserted there to connect to the next episode. You know.
I like the idea of going to all the sunken like islands. You know.
Yeah, the episode in itself, I actually thought thematically it was good.
Yeah.
I think the strength, like a lot of the strength of the show, lies in like the commentary that it makes about society and like how human nature is going to affect our future and how it's affecting us now. A lot of the things that like the show is like, really the world is pretty much the same as us, just literally
ending,
just like phased forward in the future. Like it's just showing us the consequences of everything that is now, and like nothing has really changed in the world. Like there's still like a wealth gap, but like now, since it's like 30 years later and there's like technology to increase the wealth gap, it's like even more extreme, right? And you see it in the cities, like it's so distinct, the line between like the poor side and the rich side and all that, even more than it is in real life today. So it's like, I think that's like one of the strengths of the show. But like the execution, I'm not so sure. Like plot wise, there's a lot of it that's off.
Okay, here's the I'm about to drop a certified D+ prediction for the end of the show. Skinner's grandmother was actually Skinner in disguise the entire time. The whole hidden camera was there just to throw them off, alright? It's going to be like, they're going to have a scene on episode 12 where they like put all the pieces together, they rush back, and you're going to have like the old lady there being like, "Oh yes, you finally figured it out," rips off the face, boom, Skinner.
I'm looking at the episode description now. I think I've completely like mentally blanked on the popcorn wizard episode.
Yeah.
What happened in that one? The
which
episode
episode
5
number was that?
It's the
Episode
one where
5.
they're trying to trick Skinner into coming out by announcing they found a cure.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
when they go to when they hold the conference at the medical company.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's Skinner.
She's wearing a mask too.
Okay, yeah,
They're
so
both
that too
Skinner.
was like, that was actually like really disappointing because it's like, it seems like you're introducing this significant character, right?
Yeah.
But then, if she just disappears, it just feels pointless. Especially because at the end of the episode, she was like, "Oh, you're the first one who like actually came this close to catching me," and then that's it. And it's just like, I mean, maybe it's gonna show up again, especially because like Elena was kind of smiling when she said that. I don't know if that's just like circumstantial or whatever, but I don't know, man. It's I guess I'll have to see if these things end up getting paid off at the end of the show.
Yeah.
But so far, I'm not so confident.
Even the last episode, like I knew they were gonna do it, right? Because it's like really obvious that they're gonna kill Chris's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't obvious to me.
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
Okay. Well, I thought it was obvious they were gonna kill her because I'm like, there's no way they follow through with this.
Mm-hmm.
like because they've not followed through with any like again, like we said, they kind of tie everything up in a neat bow, or I guess messy bow, at the end of each episode. So there's no way they're gonna have like a person with an established like relationship, with the potential there, like still be alive. But was like kind of disappointed because I would have liked to see. I want to see like changes to the dynamic or like consistent characters that like follow through.
You know the weird part about this show
her
is
to join Lazarus or something.
Maybe not join, but like I don't know. I feel like they're. It feels like we want to get some of these characters' backstories like done in a way with. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah.
One thing
I also have a lot of complaints about that episode specifically.
Yeah.
Like, how is it that as you're going in right to this, first of all, you guys are just like you guys are just like a bunch of guys, right? Like like I guess you have special skills and whatnot, but like still you're not that special, right? You're a bunch of like young 20-somethings, right?
Yeah.
And you're just like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna infiltrate a Russian special force base. No big deal, right? But like not only that, so as you're going to do it, Hirsch tells you guys Hirsch specifically says you guys have to be really careful. The slightest misstep could cause World War III. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll be really
I forgot about that.
The first thing they do is crash their boat into the station. Then they go off and start like mercilessly killing these special force officers, by the way.
Yeah.
Just killing them willy-nilly, right? It's like, and then the episode ends with them blowing up the whole base, and it's like, so there's just not going to be any
I completely forgot about that.
There's just not going to be any consequences to this at all. Like,
the
fact that you even pulled it off is wild, but like, that's it. And then the people in Norway like watching Elena on the screen
cheering.
Like,
yeah,
why do you have a dog in this fight?
I would love it so much if like as soon as at the end they prove to Skinner that like humanity's worth saving. He gives them the cure. Everyone's like the threat of hotness gone, but Russia's like, you blew up one of our bases. World War III now.
And by the way, Russia wouldn't even be like unjustified to be mad about anything that happened there. Like I feel bad for those special force officers. Like, what did they do? Like most of them, at least, most of them didn't do anything wrong. So it's like,
as far as they knew, they were just apprehending a traitor.
Yeah, literally. Like they're just doing their job, and then these people, just because they're the main characters, I guess they can kill you and no big deal, right?
I mean, that one guy was pretty bad, but I feel like they should have, And
then, ironically, did he die? Oh yeah, Axel did kill
die.
him. So
yeah.
I was gonna say, ironically, he's the one, he's the one person who did that. But yeah, he died. So I guess
that was such a weird turn too, because he was like, "Oh my God, you're a traitor!" And I was like, "You feel like he would have some like follow-up questions or something like that?" It's just like, your entire base is burning down. You just got shot up. Like, it's like 4 people just technically took down your entire platoon. You think your first like instinct would be, "Oh my God, Commander, everything's on fire. We have to run." It wouldn't be like, "Oh, let me hear this conversation real quick."
Well, that's another interesting thing too. I feel like there's never a consistent antagonistic faction again, unless I'm forgetting one.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
Because like you could have a thing like, oh well, they're competing with like the Russians to get the stuff, so this is a case in which they have to be like they have to get back their guy without like causing too much of a fight, which they do anyways here, but you know what I mean. Like,
that's a good point. That might be like probably the biggest thing that's like if if they added, it would add like the most value to the show is like a consistent villain. Because like at the beginning, like after we had watched episodes 1 and 2, and there was that episode where they were like racing against the FBI and whatever those other agencies, I was like, okay, so this is going to be a show about them, like who's actually, even just from the premise alone, you would think this is a show about them racing against other entities with different interests to find Skinner, right? That would be the most obvious and probably the most appealing way to do it. But like they're just not doing that at all. So
You have multiple like you could have like the cult be its own faction, and like the AI wants to find Skinner. You could have like the Russians. You could have like some criminal like rich criminal guy that like have like these things like tie in together. It seems like we would come across these villains per episode, and then again they get dispatched within that episode.
And the other thing too is like they're not really all that involved either. Like the problem, it's the frustrating thing is like you could do a lot of really interesting things where you have like a lot of different factions. Like, because here's the thing, what if not everyone took Hopna? What if the cult is like thinking like, oh man, once this Hopna stuff hits, we're going to inherit the entire Earth. All the sinners are going to be purged and we'll be our planet. Or you could have like the homeless people being like, yeah, once the population gets split in half, we'll have more jobs, we'll have more opportunities. Or you can even have like the people who are who didn't feel pain, who Skinner bought the island from, be actively trying to like cover them up or something like that.
You could have like a group of like maybe some like rich people or someone was like somehow found out ahead of time about what Hopna was about. And did exactly what you said, and is waiting for all these people to die so they can kind of like take over like some organization, and that could be like what's like trying to stop our main crew from finding him.
Right.
So they're not like aligned with Skinner, but it's in their best interest to prevent anyone from like finding him.
Right.
But this is all like us doing like wish fulfillment stuff.
Yeah.
I just feel like in general the show's kind of missing like a major antagonistic force or like factions that actually care about what's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. Because realistically they would, right?
Yeah.
Like every country, every organization would be interested in finding a cure for this thing, because presumably a lot of the like people that's running them or are in these organizations would have taken Hopna according to the universe of the show. Mm-hmm. It would be invested in not fucking dying.
Yeah. Like you would think, like they're like that's like my biggest issue with the show is we don't see enough of the world, like the surrounding world reacting to this. Like the government, it feels like the government's looking into it, but they'll get it eventually. Like you would think it would be either like you said, World War III thing where you have like other nations invading other countries trying to like track them down, martial law style, or you could have like other countries coming together just to like pool their resources to figure out a cure.
Yeah. I guess I just kind of wanted, like, my thought is they had a premise for a show, but the main thing I think they wanted to do was they wanted to do their own Cowboy Bebop. Mm-hmm. With like modern, like near future tech stuff. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of that, because like there's a lot of, I think, time invested into like cool action scenes. Mm.
The world is beautiful
which is,
too.
Like, fine, yeah, and like beautiful art and stuff like that. So I feel like that's kind of what the show has. Is what the show is prioritizing, Mm.
And the reason I feel like Cowboy Bebop works as opposed to this is because Cowboy Bebop, the show is allowed to, since the premise isn't something crazy, right? It can just focus on character studies, like like each episode, like delving into a character and delving into the world, like just seeing how the world is, seeing how the characters are. That's what this show does. But like this show has like a premise that can't really condone that unless you make it much longer, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything else, you guys?
Yeah, I was even talking to D about like I didn't like realize, if you like look at the intro, look at the way they have Axel fight, it's very Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really. The only other thing I had to say was that I found it really funny that someone at some point during the production of this show made the executive decision to animate the pet cat's balls.
Yes.
And I thought that was hilarious. Yeah. I thought that was, that's perfect use of free will right there.
Damn right. This is why we are humans, okay?
Yeah.
You can't get this from AI.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say. I guess the last thing I'll say is that through talking about this, my score wasn't already wasn't like that high, but now my score is even lower. So, but yeah, I don't really have anything else to say.
Do we think that there's going to be a big twist reveal that like the organization they're working for is bad?
No. See, okay. One issue I have, and I don't know if this is an issue, but it's something I noticed. This show feels like you could watch any episode and not be lost. Like if this was like if a network was just playing random episodes of this, I feel like I could get in. You could like pick it up, and you would be able to follow it pretty well. So that being said, I don't think there's going to be a really big twist. I feel like whatever we find out that episode is going to be 90 or 80% self-contained to that one episode.
I'm doing good.
Right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready for final verdicts?
I think so.
Yeah. I can go first. I'll say so. We didn't really talk about it much in this review, although we did talk about it in the first review. But I mean, I think artistically, the show's really good. Like I like the art, the animation, the fight scenes are really good, very creative. The elevator fight scene gave me John Wick vibes.
Yes.
Yeah.
We didn't go too much into that, but I think the action is good, the chase scenes, all that, very, very good. Aesthetically, it's a very good show. Writing wise, not so good. Thematically, I want to say it's good, and I think it is, but it's weakened by the fact that the plot isn't really helping it. You know, the plot should be complementing it, and it's not really doing that. And the characters are also kind of weak. Like I don't know. It's like I can see how like you're exploring different characters, but none of it really hits. Like the Elena story didn't really hit. The Chris story hit a little bit. It hit more than Elena's, but still, I felt like there could have been more. I have like higher hopes for Axel's story because it seems like there's something building there. Like he has some sort of dark past or history or something like that. So yeah, I have mixed feelings about the show, but I feel like it could be a lot better, and I think I would probably give it like a 5.5 or a 6. I'll probably say like a 5.5.
Nice.
At least for that so far.
Okay, so for me, I'm probably going to follow the same format as you. I think artistically, it is a solid 9 out of 10. The animation is beautiful. Backgrounds are beautiful. I really liked a lot of the environments, especially like the episode where the polar ice caps finally melted. Which, goddamn, about time. Those goddamn elitist ice caps had it too good for too long, damn it. But, all that looked really nice. I will say, again, I would like to see a little bit more world building with this because the polar ice caps melting felt like it was just a laissez-faire thing. And I feel like you could have gone into, like, how so much of the world being underwater has affected things. But that being said, artistically, 9 out of 10. Writing-wise, I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I think I do enjoy the characters. I do enjoy the vibe of the vibe this show is going for. But I do wish the plot had a little more momentum and didn't feel like every episode was like a reset.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I feel like we're going to be kind of all in agreement here. Yeah, because I'm in a similar way where I do think it's has some genuinely really like cool ideas that I wish could do more with. It does have like a pretty good art style, just like a style in general. It's animations, it's fight scenes, it's art. Like that scene where they're all out in the boat and they're like admiring like the natural beauty of the world or whatever. I feel like there's some like themes they could play into there, especially with like how much we're losing our like touch with the natural world and with like how we connect with each other, and in the same way that like this drug is like losing all feeling, and maybe they're going to do something with that with like Skinner's trying to get people to like reconnect in that way. Which, you know, I guess the show could kind of pull back some points if it has like a genuinely good ending that ties everything together. That being said, though, the dialogue's still kind of rough. I wasn't as bothered by it this time. But yeah, like the characters are kind of just like the very like surface level that you could think of that for them, and the writing, like it's fine if they want to do less world building and focus more on characters. I just think in general there's not a lot of like cohesion that I'd like, so I'd probably say like the same score as Modi. It's like a 5.5 out of 10. Like it's pretty good. It's just, you know, it's all right.
Could be better.
It's fun.
Well, one great thing about the show is that it got us both to agree. So
Yeah. I
Thank
think
you,
it's the
Skinner.
closest our scores have been to each other.
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So that is our review of Lazarus episodes 3 through 8. Thank you for watching. Next time, I think we're doing MHA, right? Vigilantes.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Tune in for that next time, and see you. Bye.
Bye.
See you.